Okay, so we have a thermador double oven here with a slow ignition. Customer said that when the gas comes on, the flame doesn't come on right away and you hear a little poof. That usually means a weak igniter not igniting the flame right away. Definitely dangerous to use it, but it's an easy fix. Just replacing the bake igniter usually fixes the issue. So for this one, to get to the igniter, you'll need to take the door off. The hinges flip back up pretty easy. So this is a double oven, so I can show you on the other one here. A little tab here goes all the way up on both of them, and then you can lift up and pull the door out. Just gotta be careful inserting it back so you get it right. If you feel any resistance, don't yank on it because it'll damage the hinge. Then you gotta take the pan out. All these bolts here around perimeter. These are pretty easy to take out, not too caked on it, and there's a front panel, a lot of screws here all around, and that's your connection to the igniter cables right there. And there's the igniter. So these two bolts that hold the igniter, these usually are pretty welded on there. You gotta use a little oil. I use special oil for the igniters. It's called Zoom spout. Just a little dab on the threads. Make sure that you put them on there, and it makes it easy to come off. Otherwise, if they get stuck, then it strips the thread. Then you gotta drill it off. You gotta put a bigger screw. Yeah, definitely worth using the oil. Get on off the igniter because it gets hot and cold multiple times, and the metal gets brittle. So yeah, let's put the new one in and see how it runs. When I see the oil coming up the tube, then I kind of find the threads, and this one will be pretty blindly, but if the screw is right there, I can kind of see them there. So we'll have to put the phone down to do this one. If you get a lot of oil, once you run the stove, it'll get smoky, and it might be pretty smoky for a while, so open the windows, but it's well worth it. If you don't use the oil and you start, the screw gets pinched and it doesn't come off, and if you keep trying to spin, breaks the threads off, and then you're gonna have a really hard time get that screw out. So it's well worth the smoke for sure. Oh, by the way, for this oven, the model number located is in the corner here, and the one that I got it was a little hard to find which one I need. I went to Thermador website, pulled up the drawings, got the drawing number, then the reference to the part number, and I came up to this Bosch 0049241. It looks like a regular igniter for most of the ovens, and if you're not sure if you're getting a right igniter, a good way to find out is see what the amperage is, so some universal igniters, it just says the amperage when it opens and closes, and for that you will need to find the gas valve, which this one is way back somewhere, and on that gas valve there's always on the gas valve says what amperage the gas valve opens up at, and they have to match with the igniter because they look the same. They all look the same, and if you don't get the right one, the igniter will open up at a different amperage, the gas valve, and then you'll get a poof, or maybe something even more than that. So this one doesn't look bad. Sometimes they're really white, and when they're really white, you know, they've seen some better days. Sometimes if if it doesn't even glow, the igniter, and the gas valve doesn't open, sometimes you see a little crack on it, and you know it's bad. You can always test for continuity. Testing the ohms on the igniter, it's pretty much not worth it, because it's hard to tell if igniter is good or bad by ohms. So a good rule of thumb, always replace the igniter if you're having some issues, and then test the valve also. If it's not igniting at all, test the power coming to the igniter. These two cables should be getting 110, and if you're getting 110, then it's most likely getting 110 at the valve as well. But if you're not getting 110, then it could be a control board. Probably this one. This one doesn't even have a control board. Probably it's. Oh, actually it does. It has to be a relay somewhere to give a voltage. So, okay, let's put a new one in and see how it goes. So the new igniter is identical, and it makes it very easy to install. Using a universal igniter, sometimes you have to transfer the case. If the bracket is on the other side, never use a different igniter, like round one and flat. Don't mix them. That's a recipe for disaster. Sometimes the universal ones come with just a quick connect. You have to put the wire nuts on top on them, and they usually have to be ceramic to withstand heat. You cannot use regular electric wire nuts. This one will be just a plug and play. So I'm just gonna wipe off the excess oil here so I get less smoke. Sometimes if you cannot get to these screws, if it's a weird angle, you gotta take out the whole manifold. So it would be from here all the way there. On this one, it's these screws that hold the manifold. Then it's a lot easier to put one on. So yeah, there's some ovens a lot more complicated. This is pretty open access, and doing it without the door, it's really easy. One more key element: never touch the igniter with your fingers. The oils from your fingers will make the igniter burn harder in that area, and it will not last long. It will crack pretty quick. They are very brittle. If you're transferring the case, try not to touch it at any cost. Okay, so we're gonna do a test here. We're gonna open up a gas valve. Well, we're gonna turn on the oven and see how quick it ignites. It used to be quite I'd say 10-15 seconds after the gas opens up, before the flame would show up. So right oven, 350, big. And we see the igniter getting red already. Sometimes the first time you run it, it takes a long time before it opens up the gas valve, which is good. It gets to get really hot. There you go. Well, okay, that was a lot better. No poof. I've seen on some where it instantly lights. This one was a few seconds. So can do sometimes you can bend it, the igniter, just a little closer towards the gas. Sometimes you do want to make sure these little holes are totally clear. These that give the gas towards the igniter and also transfers the flame to the other side of the manifold. And yeah, always inspect your manifold. This one looks good. So yeah, we'll put it back together and we'll give it a good test run. We'll probably cook a pizza first. Thanks for watching, guys.